Hello everyone, my name is Chase Doherty and I'm here to explain to you not only my app, but I'm going to do a code review. We're going to be looking at how to save user information off to a separate table whenever they search. And then I'm going to be walking through how to improve JavaScript and how to switch over to a more secure user login using a device gem. So first off, let me just explain my Maps app. I created this about a year ago. It's my first app that I really got paid for, and basically you just search an address, click go, and then markers pop up in the surrounding area, giving you details like how far away it is from the claim marker, um, any comments that you leave for them, the name, the firm, the phone number. You can click edit content, which will open you up, and you have this list that you can go through and change things on, whether you want to add different comments. And then you click submit, or you got a big red delete button. Now you can only delete depending on who you're logged in as, but I know I can delete, so we're gonna not delete because that data is pretty important. Although I do have a CSV in here that loads in all the user information, so basically whatever you need to load in here, you just add it into a CSV, the select columns, and we'll look at that code later. But for right now, let's just look at the Maps app. I'm going to expand this a little bit so you can see everything. You have a distance filter, so we can go everything within 50 miles. I click go for the same address. Give me a 50-mile radius. I click there. I can filter it to just adjusters, attorneys, engineers, vendors, and this is just what I was given as criteria that they want to search for. We just put it on adjusters, which is the default. So we switch it to attorneys. We should get some new markers out here. It does not plant every kind of marker by default. It only plants adjusters by default because adjusters are the main one that are searched. And the whole purpose is, hey, an accident happened at this place, and we need to get nearest attorneys, the nearest adjusters, the nearest engineers, the nearest vendors there as quick as possible. That's why when you click on it, you can go to their website really quickly. You have a phone number that pops up. Email, if you click on the email, sends you to nice little email pop up. Close that. Don't need to keep that up. Don't need to keep my email open. And that's the beauty of the app. Now there are some also different features, like if I wanted to just search it by the regular, almost phone book lookup type of way, where you still click on the facts or the website, and this has some additional information in here, as you can see, that wasn't included in that small dialog pop-up box. You can even see the original latitude and longitude, so that if you want to edit the location, although that latitude and longitude is automatically populated according to the address, city, and the state, along with the zip. And you can see that if you click edit, it'll say auto-populate, auto-populate. And this one is for attorneys, it looks like, or adjusters, because you can see adjuster right up here, and it has all the information right here. You have a delete button. I'm logged in as an admin, so I have the delete button. If you're not admin, it's not there. I can look at the show original, which is the one that you can't edit until you click the edit button. So this is the page that pops up if you're not admin, but you want to look at all the information single-handedly like this. Let's go back to our maps. I have another tab open. You have two buttons right here. The edit content goes away if you're not admin. If you are, you have this nice little pop-up. So let's go back to our maps. I don't think I need to show you how to create a new one. I will show you the profile, manage profile, because that's important, because I will be switching this to a device. Right now, you can enter in a one-letter password, and I did set up a forgot password route where you can enter your email, it sends you the email, and click on the link, and yada yada. It was my first time going through and creating user login. It's not recommended that you use the device gem, although it's efficient, it's authenticates, it's secure. It's recommended that the first time through you build your own so that you understand all the details of it. And if anything ever goes wrong with the device gem, you know how to fix it. So let's log back in. We will be switching up all this, and I did create tests, and we'll look at those later. No, LastPass, don't need that. And I think that closes out everything. For the Maps app. Okay, now we're going to be looking at the routes folder, and it's stereotypical to what you would expect for a routes folder. You have the get to a controller, and I use different methods here. I use the resources when I have a bunch of methods that need to have the route. Just for the login, it needs to go to the new, and for the logout, it needs to go to the destroy, depending on what URL you enter in. And if you're into an admin, it's going to users, it's going to hit that admin method for the users controller. Password reset, collectives. And let me explain collectives real quick. That just includes everything in the filter results, the attorneys, the adjusters, the vendors, etc. Anything else you would like to add in there in the future. It's fairly modular. Just all, again, depends on the CSV import or how you want to manage your schemas, which basically, it's a nice segue into the next part. I have two tables. I have the collectives, and right now I have highlighted is the adjustment type, which was the list I just spoke of. And if you want to add in a different search result, you would add it to the adjustment type column. And I have all the different columns here. The senior rate and junior rate usually only applies to attorneys, but you can leave it or take it for each one too. It's just easier to have one collective table. If each different type had special criteria and one had a very limited amount of data, perhaps I'd create multiple tables for each one, but initially I did do that. And I felt like it just bogged down the database. And it wasn't necessary to have all those tables, and this makes it simpler. Simpler is usually better, as long as you're not force feeding a square into a circle, if you know what I mean. I do have a users table, and this will be getting changed since I'm adding in the devise gem. I don't know what we needed to change at this table. Changing tables inside Rails is really easy. You just list the type that the column will be, whether it will hold a string or boolean or a date or a number or a float, as you can see up here. And you add a table, you do a database migrate, and you have a new table. If I do change up the collectives table, I would have to import the data again. However, I don't think I'm going to do that. I'll only be changing the users table this time through. It's easier, and it does need updated. As you can see, I have an admin column here for true or false, but I don't think I actually used it when I first went through. I do have a delete ability for true or false. I'm pretty sure I did use that one. So let's go to the users controller. I validate the email whenever you create a new user to make sure that it's there. Presence is true. I allow it to be blank. That was for testing purposes initially. I couldn't get a test to pass for some odd reason, and I had a senior developer come through and they said, yeah, you have to allow it to be blank, but for the presence to also be true, which seems contradictory, but it does work for whatever reason, which is another reason why I'm going to the devise gem. It has some weird quirks about the user's controller, and the devise gem will be secure. It follows protocol. It keeps up to date on industry standards. I do have a down days, so whenever you enter an email, even has caps in it, I save it. Um, this is the model right here, the model methods, I should say, not the controller. And then I also have generate password token. So basically this one is what I used for the LDAP to make sure that it was secure and that the password wasn't just saved as a string so that if they ever got hacked, it'd be open. So let's move on to the actual user's controller and not the user's model. The user controller has several different methods in it. As we were looking at the routes earlier, depending on what you enter in the URL, sort of put you through, and different different clicks on different buttons will send you to different URLs. Not all of these you can just go to. It has a couple private methods to set the user, where it finds the params of the ID inside the table, and I do validate everything right here. And how Rails works, if you don't enter in any of these, you won't be able to save them in the table. And it's just one of the beauty of convention over configuration for Rails, and that's why I think I enjoy Rails so much. Is just because of easy methods like this that make validating quick and efficient. Um, so on admin, you'll see I called user.all, which just basically lists all the users. Create new, I create user.new. And I think that kind of closes out everything inside the controller that I wanted to go over. They have a before action, which just sets the user depending on which controller method that you're hitting. And I do have a require admin for destroying, so I do have that in there, and for edit and updating, creating, and show, and admin. Let's go to the user sessions. So this is another thing that will be getting cleaned up, and I don't know how much quality analysis has been done on this. I don't know how much has been edited because I kind of created this and just gave it to the client, and I did the majority of the legwork. So they found bugs. So they have developers on there that can help clean this up. I found the user by the email. After I strip out the space, I authenticate it using the params password, and that's in concomitantly works with my LDAP. I set the session ID. If it's admin, if the first name's admin, I redirect to the admin page. Not necessarily that they can have the admins right, but it just directs to the admin page. I believe they still have to have the boolean true for the admin column, and that can only be established if you were to create the user from within the server, and you set that as true. Again, all this will be getting changed, so it's probably not the best secure way to have it, especially when you talk about really sensitive corporation data. So I'm looking forward to improving this. I set a flash notice if there's something that goes wrong, and what this does right here is that it just clears up the flash notice. And I do have a password reset ability. Here's one of the examples of a flash notice. There's a problem logging in. Please check your email and password. And I render a new page. And here I just destroy. This is basically logging out. It says destroy. It's not deleting the user. It's just logging out. Again, another thing that can be more clear whenever I do the device gem. So I think next we should look at the tests that are written for the users. I did write a variety of tests, just ensuring that validations work, that it requires the email address to look like an email address. The great thing is that I used RSpec mixed in with Capybara. RSpec's really user-friendly. It just has some poor documentation, but as you can see, it's easy to read. I don't think I need to explain each one of these tests, but the main important thing to note about it is that I do have the ability to write tests, and that will help out script, which is part 2 of the 3 different features I want to change. And if we look on the left, I could go through a lot more of the test. All the way down here, we have create, delete, edit, login, map. There's plenty of tests in here, and I try to go over some of them, but I don't want to go too in depth on all of them. And there were other controllers, the password reset controller, that will also be getting affected. But we are limited on time, so the next thing I want to be looking at is the JavaScript. So